Rebecca, this is Tony Holowitz, and I want to thank you very much for taking part in my training and letting me help you. I just want to review some of the things we talked about. Here is a spreadsheet that has some sales information in it, and you can see it's a little crowded right now, but I'll show you how to deal with that. So the sales information is sales for the New England states for sales representatives, and all the representatives happen to be presidents, past presidents, and I think maybe even future or current presidents. But nonetheless, let me show you how to work with this. First of all, because all the information is crowded, a little trick is if you come up on the little line in between the columns and double click on it, it will make the column as wide as the widest item in the column. So if you have stuff way down off the screen, it will make it wider. Let me take this and bring it back in a little bit. And again, you can click on the line and drag and drop left to right. Everything I do with the columns works with the rows as well. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to come up here and click on the column B. I'm going to drag all the way over to G, and I'm going to double click on any one of these lines. So now what it does is it resizes everything perfectly, all of them. And I'm just going to make them a little bit bigger just to illustrate some things and maybe make a couple things a little bit smaller. So the first thing when you're working with data, you sort of have to understand the data for it to make sense. And we have some very basic information: state, salesperson, order amount, order date, invoice, and day. Fairly simple stuff anyone can understand. The states are all the New England states, so we have the 6 New England states. First thing, if I want to filter all this stuff, let's say I just want to find the people in Vermont that are part of this spreadsheet. What I can do is I can come up and click on column B, and then on the data tab, I'm going to click on filter. Puts a little drop down right here. I'm going to click on this drop down. I have all the states or all the selections in this spreadsheet. I'm going to click on select all to take them all off. Now I'm just going to click on Vermont, and I'm going to click on OK. So now what it did is it only found the Vermont sales, just Vermont. Now, sometimes you don't know how many Vermont people are here. So what I want to illustrate is down here, which can be a little hard to see on the bottom left, it tells me that 212 of 800 records found are Vermont. So you can filter this stuff. Let me take the filtering off by going back up and clicking on filter. Next, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click on column B, drag all the way over to G, and I'm going to click on filter again. Now it puts little drop downs in each area. So let's say I want to come up here and go, again, let's do just Vermont. I'm going to click OK. But now if we want to isolate the salespeople in that area, I'm going to click on select all to take them all off. And let's just do Harry S. Truman and John F. Kennedy and click OK. And here are our sales for just those two presidents. So you can really work with this quite easily. And a lot of times, if you're doing stuff quick, you don't even really have to use a pivot table. It can be very simple to work with quickly. Next, let me go back and take the filtering off. So now we have all our data. If you want to do a pivot table, what you do is this. You have all your data here. You go up, you click on Insert tab. I should say the Insert tab, and give it just a second. Come on. It's taking its time. There we go. And I'm going to come over here and click on Pivot Table. And when I get the Pivot Table, now what it does is it throws dancing black ants around all the data. Now most of the times it will find the data and select it automatically. So at this point, I usually recommend click on OK. And you can have it go into a new worksheet or the existing worksheet. Again, just leave this stuff as it is. I'm going to click OK. And what it's going to do, it's going to break out a pivot table with all kinds of information over here on the right. And when you first see this, it can be a little confusing. In my opinion, the easiest way to do that or work with a pivot table is this. Say, for example, we want the state across the top. Well, I'm going to click here on state and drag it down to where it says column labels, and I'm going to let go. Next, I'm going to take the salesperson and I'm going to put it on the row labels. I'm going to just drag it down here. So now we have the salesperson and we have the states. And obviously we want the amount. Well, not obviously, but I'm going to click here and drag amount into the middle and let go. And now what it's going to, oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I'm going to drag the order amount down here and I'm going to put it in the values right there. So what it did is it took all the values, the dollar amounts, and dragged them down and put them in the appropriate areas. So now we have all our totals. If you want to move a pivot table around, in essence, pivot it, the easiest way, in my opinion, is just uncheck things over here on the right and then just sort of start again. So let's say now we want the salesperson, where the column goes. We want the order amount again in the values. And let's say maybe we want the day of the order here in the row. Well, I can click there and it gives us a sense of the best days for the sales. So you can work with a pivot table really easily. As long as you understand the data, you can pivot things around. But a lot of times I find the filtering works just as good. So that's what I wanted to illustrate. Those are a lot of the things we went over, and you can hang on to this video just to review in case you have any questions going forward. Again, thanks for your time, and I appreciate it. Have a good day.